Hi guys, so today I'm going to talk about interest rates and macroeconomic factors that affect a student's life and in particular student loans. So first I'm going to go over the types of student loans and then I'll get into the interest rates and how they're impacted by other macroeconomic factors. So first we're going to go and talk about subsidized loans, and subsidized loans, they don't accrue any interest until after the student has graduated, and then they start accruing interest. And unsubsidized loans are just the opposite, so they start accruing interest right away, and they don't really wait for the student to graduate. And then there's fixed interest rates and variable interest rates. So fixed interest rates, they stay the same. The interest rate of the loan stays the same over the lifetime of the loan. So if it's 5% fixed for 10 years, then you'll be paying 5% interest rate every year for 10 years. And if it's variable also known as floating rate, the interest rate's going to change so with the market. So and with the federal funds rate. So if it's 5% variable for 10 years, and the first year is 5%, and then suddenly the interest rates are increased by the federal funds interest rate increases, then the variable rate is probably most likely to go up, and then it's so you could be paying 5% one year, you could be paying 6% the next year, and then if the federal funds rate goes down, then you could be paying 5% again. So it just changes based off the market. And so here we can see the fixed interest rates for a subsidized or unsubsidized undergraduate loan, and we can just see that they're just basically the same rates for unsubsidized and subsidized, and we can just see how high some of these rates are, from 6.8% in 2013 and now to 4.53%. But currently, for the year of 2020 to 2021, the undergraduate direct unsubsidized and subsidized loan is at an interest rate of 2.75%. This is extremely low, and we've really never really seen federal loans for undergraduate students be at this low of a rate. Like if we look at the charts from before, we can see that it's never even been close to how low that it currently is. So the reason why the fixed interest rates for a student loan are so low is because of the federal funds rate, which is currently at, if we can look at this graph, it's currently below 0.5%. So why is the federal funds rate currently so low? Well, because of COVID-19, there has been a drop in output, and employment has also dropped. And this can be seen in the graph shown at the bottom, which shows the real GDP. And we can see a drop at the beginning of 2020, and this is due to the coronavirus. And the Fed cut interest rates to 0 to 0.25%, from 1 to 1.25%, in order to stimulate the economy. This is the largest emergency reduction in the Fed's cuts in more than 100 years of history. And it's the first time the U.S. Central Bank has reduced rates at an unscheduled meeting within 13 days of each other. And the reason why they cut these rates was to stimulate the economy, like I said earlier. And that is because if they cut rates, then more people are likely to take on more debt, as the rates are lower, and more companies too, not just individuals. And they're likely to spend more money, which will increase consumer spending, and that will help the economy grow faster and recover faster. And that's because there's more spending going on, and more spending means more an increase in GDP, and it'll just help the economy recover overall. And like I said earlier, because the interest rates have been cut, we can see here on this graph, which is a graph of the market for loanable funds, and we can see on this graph how if we cut the interest rates, the quantity demanded will increase, which is exactly what's happening currently, and the quantity supplied will be less than the quantity demanded, and we're currently seeing that too. And the reason why there's more demand is because the interest rates are so low, so people can easily take on cheap debt, and that's the whole idea of the federal funds cutting rates. So people can take on cheap debt and they can spend more. So that's just an example of how macroeconomics, such as interest rate cuts, which is an example of monetary policy, and how it can affect a student's life.